2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
Liberate yourself with positive thinking.
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
I'm just laughing. Like, I got on this call with you and I was just complaining. Like, I get on and I'm just like complaining about life, being a victim to life. And then it's like, let's do the like intro thing, like liberate yourself with positive thinking.
You sound like a radio DJ. You just got done telling me, like, Ty, man, I'm feeling kind of heavy today. I'm kind of
just
feeling this,
moaning and
other.
complaining about life.
It's like,
oh man,
hey, what's the topic today? It's positive thinking. You're like, oh,
oh geez, yeah.
Isn't that a smack to the face?
Yeah, I know. Oh, live what you preach. Come on, buddy.
Hey, by the time we're done today, you're gonna have it all turned around. It's gonna
this might fine. Just be the very topic that I need today. So
yeah.
By the way, I'm drinking. This is not sponsored by, but I'm drinking a Liquid Death. This is not a near beer, nor is it a real beer. Just for anyone, like, I don't drink beer while I podcast, but Liquid Death is great.
It's just trendy water.
Yeah. I was listening to our past episode, and I was like, man, near beer at 7, like that is pretty nuts.
You guys. The worst part about it is it isn't that you were curious and like took it or tried it or anything. The worst part is that you actually liked it.
We liked it at 7. That is crazy.
That's gnarly, man.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, Brannon, let's
liberate me today, Tyler. Liberate me.
Okay,
let's do this.
I want to start with something first, and then we're going to kind of lead into another story today. But this last week it was kind of a cool thing. It didn't quite pan out how I hoped it would, but again, I don't live according to preference, so that's fine. But
He says that so nonchalant. Like, again, I'm just totally zened out here. I just accept everything. Cling to nothing.
Exactly. So my daughter, you heard about it. Like, she's been playing on the high school soccer team, and she's basically in the rotation where she was kind of like right on the bubble of sometimes she gets some playing time, sometimes she wouldn't. She's a sophomore. And towards the end of the season, as they get closer and closer to the state games, the team, the roster tightens up even further. And so she gets further and further down the bench, maybe not getting a lot of playing time. And for the last several weeks, it's just been this constant, like, kind of discussion back and forth about her feelings and how she wishes she was getting more playing time, but how she understands, and talk about being a good teammate. And one of the things that we've been discussing over and over again is always still keeping a positive mental attitude and being at the ready whenever your number is called. Right. So she's, back and forth with this. We're fighting all along, but I think she does a really good job with the team. And finally they get to the state championship, just like this weekend. And the team is playing and they're tied. I think it was like 3-3. And with 2 minutes left in the game, she hasn't played at all in like the last, much in the last like 4 games. With 2 minutes left in the game, the coach goes, "Hey, I need someone to add some spark and put some pressure on. Go out there." So she runs out there and she just runs out. She kind of looked like Rudy at the end of the movie when he finally gets in the game. He just like runs out there fast. He's just like so excited, Like, she goes run out there and she plays really, really hard. And then they play her for the first few minutes of the overtime period too. And the whole time I was just thinking in my head, like, this is where it all comes to fruition. We've been preaching positive mental attitude the whole time. She's finally ready. She's going to get her shot. She's going to score the golden goal, and it's going to be this wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. And she didn't end up scoring the golden goal, and her team actually ended up losing in a shootout. But it was kind of a cool thing to kind of at least have that moment where her keeping her head in the game and staying positive and trying to be a good teammate sort of kind of came to fruition and like paid off with an opportunity that she was given.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's awesome. We expect her to do the flying header and getting knocked out by the goalie and stuff, but like the stars don't always align. But I do got to say, it's pretty awesome. She's playing in the state championship game on the varsity team as a sophomore, though. Like, to put that in context, it's pretty awesome. And it was just really cool to see her have the opportunity. And really, the principle here, and that's what we want to tie into today with the episode, is how do you try to maintain and keep a positive mental attitude when sometimes life doesn't really make it easy.
Right?
I'd like to tell a story about one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and I consider him like a brother to me. His name's I call him Hot Rod. And these are kind of big type stories, but a little different. Hot Rod is from Brazil. He's from a place called Piracicaba down in Brazil. And how I got to know him was when he was in college, he just randomly wanted to come to the United States to just kind of tour around and visit. And so he flew to San Francisco, and he didn't have a place to stay. He just was like on an adventure. He's from Brazil. He doesn't speak English. And so he, figures out a few friends in San Francisco, and he was here for like months. And then one of his buddies was like, "Hey, we should go to like Utah. Let's go. This is the middle of the winter. This is January." And so they hop on a bus, and he ends up in Park City. And in Park City, he gets a really bad kidney stone. And so it's the middle of winter. He's at a bus stop with a kidney stone. Can't speak.
And he knows nobody.
He knows nobody, and he can't speak English.
We shouldn't be laughing at that.
This story is not a story about stupidity. This is going somewhere else. But So Hot Rod's up there in Park City, and he doesn't know what to do. So he calls home, and our younger brother, served in Brazil, and he's like, do you guys know anybody in Utah that can help him? He's in Utah, and one of his best friends, Rex, knew, and so Eddie was his name, and Eddie actually lived with us for a little while. And so Eddie was like, "Oh yeah, the Patricks are there. They'll help him." So we drove up to Park City, and there was Hot Rod, just a stranger,
Thinking he's dying.
thinking he doesn't know what's going on. He's just in pain. And we pick Hot Rod up, and that's how we got to know Hot Rod. And so he ends up living at our house for like 2 months. But as we get to know Hot Rod, at first, his English he's just learning it. He's getting better. But I noticed something about him pretty early on. I teach my kids 3 rules in life that I think make you completely resilient to everything. And they're the rules to live in growth mindset. And Hot Rod lives these rules. So my three rules are: do your best, believe in yourself, and have fun. Like those 3 things. Do your best, believe in yourself, and have fun. So here we are. We pick up Hot Rod, and he is a fish out of water. He's recovering from this kidney stone, but he's just fun. Like immediately we started joking with you, and
yeah, you taught him English using my anatomy.
We taught him English. we started just assimilating him into life, and he just had this positive attitude. He'd do his best, and he'd have fun. Everything we did. And so over the course of these couple of months, we just became really good friends. And yeah, I might have taught him that deer I might have taught him those were called wild cows.
Yeah, you're teaching him English. Instead of deer, you're like, those wild cows. So he's walking around telling everybody else, look, wild cows.
Wild cows.
So the worst people to teach English to this guy would have been you and Rex.
It's funny because I went and visited him in Brazil, and he's like, B, I can't understand English, but I can understand you. Everything you say, I understand.
You taught him his own dialect.
His own dialect of English. And it is weird because we do kind of have that bond where we speak a different language, but we can speak to each other. We understand each other. And so fast forward, this was 20 years ago. This is 25 years ago, actually. And we've kept in contact. He's come up here a couple of times. I've gone down to Brazil and visited him. And like anybody, life can kick you around and be challenging. And Hot Rod, he doesn't. I call him Hot Rod. He doesn't have. His life isn't terribly hard, but a couple things have happened in his life, and he was in town, and we were hanging out with our cousin, and we were in town, and our cousin was complaining about something. Maybe you could tell this story, Tyler.
Yeah, so we do this trip with one of our cousins fairly regularly, a little boy's trip, and we were just kind of catching up, and our cousin was telling this story, and he was just kind of complaining about some things going on at his business practice and a few things going on with some of his relationships, and he's just kind of just kind of being negative, and then it ends, and we're talking, that talk ends, and then it turns over to Hot Rod, and then they're like, so what happened to Hot Rod? And then Hot Rod tells the story of how he was swindled out of
$1 million,
almost $1 million,
almost $1 million US
by one of his best friends.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be some kind of investment, but instead the guy basically just took all the money and cut bait and left. And we're like, oh my gosh. And all of us in the car, while Hot Rod's telling the story, are like, oh my gosh, let's go find that guy. Let's go do this. Let's go, like, like, oh, that is so bad. That is so wrong. And Hot Rod just sits there with like this little smile on his face. He's like, yeah, it's okay.
All
It's
he said,
fine.
all he said was, "It's okay,
It's okay.
it's okay,"
It's okay.
and
And then he said he's still my friend.
yeah, and he said it in the most like gentle, genuine tone, like it's okay, it's all right,
It's okay.
and and then he said something after that. He said, "You know, uh, we're still young. We got a life. We got a lot of life to live. Like there's some things to be excited about. We got a lot of life to live. We're young,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, here we are, like our one cousin's kind of complaining about life. And how did he respond when Rod said that?
He instantly was just like, oh, like I got nothing to complain about.
He's like, why am I complaining?
He's like, why am I
Oh my
complaining?
gosh,
This dude
like-
just lost $1 million and he's fine.
His best friend swindled him out of it, and he's got his attitude of like, so whatever,
It's life. It's life.
That's how life goes, like there's the bad things happen. And the thing about it is like his whole demeanor is that like, it's not just words, it's a genuine, like, I can accept life as it comes. And Hot Rod has a lot of good things in life, like a lot of really beautiful things, but like anybody, bad things happen to everybody. And I think his attitude of, hey, you do your best and you believe in yourself and you have fun, it like really leads to when those bad things happen, you can still find hope, you can still find purpose, and you can still find some learning through all of it.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest parts of that is that somehow he had tapped into this thing of being able to accept life on its terms as life instead of always wondering and complaining about why it's not fair to me or why did this happen to me or whatever else. Just those three things you're talking about, Brannon, if they were talking about those three secrets to life, the positive mental attitude, do your best, believe in yourself, and have fun. What would be a massive piece of suffering for most people becomes he still probably had some irritability about it, but he suffered way less over the amount of time that it had happened by simply just by shifting the way he looked at it.
Tyler, I was blown away this past week. We've run groups for years, you and I, and but we just started this new foundations group that we've been advertising on the show, and I was blessed to sit with the women in that group and do a breakout, and in that room, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of heartache, some of the most difficult pain and complex pain that there is, and we were doing this assignment where they're talking about their mission statement for recovery and what they really envision and want to do, and I know there's a lot of pain in there, and I know there's a lot of reason to be a victim, and because in many ways they have been a victim, but I started to listen to these mission statements, and I just heard women who were resilient and women who were gonna find the reason and the purpose behind all of this pain. And I was so impressed by each one of them taking ownership of their life and the situation, and knowing that they can move forward even when these really hard, bad things happen.
Yeah, and I think that's I was on the other side of that, Brent. I was in the men's side, and they were sharing their statements as well. And what really struck me is they were many. In fact, I would say the majority of the statements had to do with stepping further into their real identity, living authentically, and living with integrity, like all the principles we talk about here on the podcast. Not a single one of them had some kind of victim statement inside their mission statement.
Yeah.
This was a statement regardless of what may come. This is who I want to be and how I want to live. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to do all of this so that. It was, this is who I want to be.
Right.
Right. And I think taking that attitude is like it's a way of inoculating yourself in some ways against a lot of the pain and suffering that goes on in this world.
But we're not saying that you don't feel pain.
No, you're still even going through all of that.
Right.
Right. There's still going to be pain. There's going to be discomfort. That's unavoidable. The world we live in, even if you do everything right, in quotes, whatever right is, you're still in a world where there will be pain. You can't avoid it.
Right. And it's just it's how you view the pain that really matters. And this is where that fixed mindset can really, really cause problems, is if I view the pain as like God doing something to me, punishing me, or just making my life miserable, then I'm going to be more miserable as a result of that pain. But if I view that, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I always kind of, for myself, I look at it as there's going to be, what is that thing Grandpa Harris used to always say? I think pain is mandatory, misery is optional. It's like,
yeah,
the life of pain happens, and then the way that we attribute it and the story we give to it will either make us find some meaning and purpose in it and suffer less, or it'll add to our suffering. And a lot of times we're the ones who are responsible for how much extra suffering we want to put on the top of it.
So is it possible for me to always think positively about my pain?
Well, I think it's more of like a practice of recognizing because our brains are slanted towards the negative for good reasons, to help us stay alive and to protect us, because anything that's a threat to us, if we see it with negativity, we are more likely to do some protecting in that. But I think it's the exercise more to become conscious and aware that we are the ones who are responsible for the story, and we can either increase the quality of our life or decrease the quality of our life depending on what we choose to believe inside some of those circumstances.
Right.
Right.
And that's really the whole, like, we talk about this a lot, like the Viktor Frankl thing of we always have the power to choose what we think and what we feel, but between stimulus and response. Like we have that space. So along comes life. Here's the triggers. Here's the stimulus. We can always stop and be like, okay, what's happening here? I can choose to think about this however I want to. And really that's what Hot Rod did in that moment, where our cousin's like, complaining, and then Hot Rod's like, well, let me show you that you can choose to think differently about this thing. And in his broken English, he showed that, and we were all like, oh my God. We started calling him the Brazilian Jesus.
He just totally he just preached the perfect sermon in just his humble broken English kind of way.
He said 2 words.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I still love him. What?
Where do you come from?
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that idea of, we tell stories about Grandpa Harris all the time too, but remember, like, Grandpa would teach. He was, this old man. He substitute taught every day. He had this little book he'd keep in his pocket of like 100 and something jokes, half of them he wrote that weren't very good. But he'd go to his teaching gig every day, and I'm sure the students got sick of it, but he'd stand up there and he'd be like, all right, I got a confession to make, you guys. And then he'd say, I have AIDS. And then everyone would be like, what? And then he'd point at his ears. He's like, hearing aids, right?
In the early 90s and stuff, that probably wasn't a very sensitive joke.
No, not at all. Not at all. But here is Grandpa. He's deaf. He can't hear a thing. And instead of cursing the world for having gotten sick and lost his hearing, he's embracing life on its terms and saying, well, this is the reality, and I might as well have some fun with it, right?
Well, yeah. One of the ultimate examples of this, and I think I brought this up before on the show, is You listen to the podcast, The Letter.
Oh, so good.
It's one of my favorite of all time. And we have a personal stake in that,
Yeah.
having been right in the middle, like watching that unfold. And without getting into the whole story of it all, but this woman, her son was murdered by this guy, and somehow that like he levied, I think, the most painful thing that a person possibly could on somebody else, like to take their child. There's nothing worse, right? So how does she go from there's a clip in the podcast where she's saying to this guy who murdered her son, I love you. I love you, and it's like nonchalant because she has
It's like, I love you.
a relationship with this guy, because she's forgiven him, and she actually loves him. And I look at that and I'm like, how does she go from that amount of pain and that easy to be a victim to this guy who shot her son in the back of the head to I love you? And I'm not saying everybody should do that, or that's the how it should go for everybody, but for her, she's inspiring to me because she chose how she wanted to view the situation. She chose how she wanted to respond, and she chose to apply love to the situation instead of hate. And it's pretty inspiring. It's pretty incredible.
I try to put myself in, I can only imagine, like, in those shoes, and I wonder if, like, in some ways, even though it's not the natural response to get to that point that she did, was almost its own survival response. Because how do you navigate this world otherwise? You still got to find a way that there's to find that there's still something good in this world, and there's still something positive, and in a certain sense, you have to create that by the way that you choose to approach the world and see it. And we've got a lot of people listening to us right now who are in some pretty dark places. It's and I don't want us to have this episode be, hey everybody, like, hurry and be happy about what's happening to you.
Yeah,
that's not what this is about. But inside of those struggles that inevitably anybody is listening to this is in right now, there is an opportunity for freedom, and that pathway is through those things you talked about, Brannon. Doing your best. Like, yeah. there's already peace of mind in doing your best, even if you don't control the outcomes, right? Believing in yourself. That means knowing yourself. That means going into yourself and becoming aware of who you are, and then living according to your God-given values and abilities, right? And then, of course, the choice to have fun. Like, I was telling my daughter this on the way. She was on the way to school today. She turned on this song that was heavy. It was like really sad. And I'm like, oh, she must be having a rough day today. So we had a little discussion on the drive to school. And I said, I relate to this. Like, there are some days where it's just hard, And I said, but what's also interesting is, like, look up right now. And we're driving towards her school, and like her school's facing these mountains, and the sun's just barely starting to hit the tops of these white covered mountains and just like lighting them up. And I was like, even inside of the heaviness that you could feel, with just a slight shift in perspective, there's also at our fingertips always the opportunity for peace, for joy, for calmness, for happiness. They all coexist with each other. And some people get stuck in the trap of the pit, and they forget that they can climb out and also actually enjoy life too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the nature of it is, you like, if you climb a mountain, it's steep and it's hard to climb, and you can sit and wallow about how miserable it is to climb it. So then why do people hike?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, why do they do it? They do it because it feeds their soul and it brings them life, and it also takes them to places of beauty. And I think that analogy actually applies to life in general. Like, we're all on the battlefield. Some of us are pretty bludgeoned up, like, but we can look at that battlefield and be like, this is a freaking adventure. Like it hurts, it's painful, but it's also like a challenge. And here we are. And I'm grateful to be on this battlefield versus why me? Why do I have to be on this battlefield? And when I think of Hot Rod and just that little it's okay is kind of like
There's a lot of life left.
the wisdom there's a lot of life left. There's a lot the wisdom of like I understand what the battlefield is in those two little words, it's okay. Is it hit the rest of us like, oh, he understands it differently. And because he understands it just a little bit different, his world is different. He has light inside of him still, even after so much pain and darkness. And he could absolutely snuff that out for good reason.
Yeah.
Right?
I find myself even cringing as you say that, Brannon, because if I still were to lose $1 million to one of my best friend, even after listening to Hot Rod, I wouldn't react that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet you could get there.
I'm not sure I'd react that way really instantly, even though I would like to, because I
that
could
would
see.
be so
because
hard.
I think the thing is, Brannon, is it was the freedom you could feel from him and out of him. It wasn't just the words he used. It was like there was no tension in his response. It was like, yeah, that's life. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It was the feeling and the energy of that freedom and softness more than the words itself. And I'm thinking, I would love to be there. I don't know that I would be instantly.
Well, and I think instantly is not like the norm, nor should you expect that of yourself.
Yeah.
There's always a stage of grief. There's always a process of acceptance, and part of that is a resistance against the painful reality. But as long as we're able to recognize where we're at and know where we want to get to that place of peace and acceptance, and I think it's of praising God for the lessons, for the life that we have. As long as that's what we're working toward, then that's beautiful. That's okay.
Yeah. Amen. Good topic today, Brannon. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if I should recommend this because it's been so long since I've seen it, but I'm having the movie Simon Birch run through my head right now.
I've never seen that.
You never seen Simon Birch?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's about a little kid who's not like all the rest of the kids. I was just thinking of your three things: the do your best, believe in yourself, and have fun.
Yep.
Like he doesn't really fit in, but through the whole movie, he says, "I'm going to make a difference in the world. I'm going to make a difference in the world." But he's just like small and out of place and everything. But by the end of the movie, there's some ways that he makes some difference in the world, and but he lives those three things too. So that's probably why I'm thinking that. But I'm afraid of recommending it because I can't remember all the content in the movie. So,
So what's it called? Simon Birch?
Simon Birch.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Tyler did not recommend that.
I'm
but it's an
recommending
awesome
that
movie.
you watch it, Brannon. I want you to
Okay.
watch it, Brannon. Yeah. So there's just one comment that came through here, and we'll end it. It says, "I love this. Saturday on the trail was beautiful with snow falling and sunlight, even a tiny rainbow, and the wind was blowing super hard and cold. Both things at the same time. Beauty with hardship."
Beautifully said.
I love it, man. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So, all right, you guys. Hopefully this is meaningful to you. Hopefully you're able to find that positive mental attitude, the growth mindset that leads us to freedom. And until next time, keep on keeping on.
Hot Rod, love you, man.